See that? That one? That's a win. Panther people, what up? Like Will Ferrell said, let's go streaking for wins. Woo! Woo! I watch Panthers post to Phil Perkins. Thanks for joining. A lot of Panthers winning their first game. And honestly, if you take a look at the schedule, I think the Panthers can go on a little bit of a winning streak. I know it's easy to say because, we're not taking on the Detroit Lions and the Miami Dolphins. It's, the Indianapolis Colts, the Chicago Bears, both getting blown out. One got blown out, one's getting blown out as we speak. And then you get another rookie matchup with the Tennessee Titans with Will Levis doing some things. I mean, if you want, we'll talk about that later. But like the Houston Texans made the Carolina Panthers work for it. Eddie Pinheiro kicked the game-winning field goal 3 times. 3 times. I was literally driving when this all happened. And I'm listening to the game, and I'm like, oh, my gosh, just kick the ball. And there's like, flag. It was like, man, just kick the ball and get the win so I can just get on with my Sunday and actually do an episode for the first time in over a month where I'm talking about a dub. So let's give the flowers right off the bat to Frankie Louvu. Oh, I know. I threw a curveball there. Huh? No, Frankie Louvu was all over the play. Anytime that I thought that CJ Stroud would be making a big play, which he had a couple dimes and some lasers. But anytime I got kind of scared that he was going deep, Frankie Louvu had some kind of game-changing play. He was all over the place. 12 total tackles, 7 solo, 1 sack, 2 tackles for loss, and 1 QB hit. The guy was all over the place. A couple of pass deflections, but he had 2 pass deflections off CJ Stroud, who arguably, according to some people, threw the best ball out of this draft. So Frankie Louvu was all over the place, and also shout out because I'm a mama's boy. The fact that his mom was watching for the first time, the fact that she got to see that, that's beautiful. That was a beautiful thing to see, and he balled out. I know for a lot of people, he made a lot of sense for a trade candidate because he's playing so well. You can actually get a return. But I think you can keep him and still make some trades and get some assets. Thomas Brown, shout out to you. The Panthers have a really good video out.
This one hey, they all mean a lot. This one means a lot to me. Woo! Woo! Yeah. We knew he was going to be a beast when he got here. And when the game was on the line, he called the perfect series, right? Thomas Brown.
Wow, that's so great. So Frank, I didn't know Frank Reich had that gear in him.
And this one means,
first of all, again, rocking the pinwheel hat like it's 2002 all over again. Wow, getting emotional here.
We knew he was going to be a beast when he got here.
David Tepper in the building as well. He knows
the perfect series, right?
Wow, he knows the heat's on him just a little bit. Frank reads the papers too. There he is. Okay. And this is something that I've said about Frank Reich, that he is a leader of men, not just the players, but the coaches as well. That's why the coaching staff around him are so young. They're forward thinking. They're diverse. And I think he always saw the next chapter of his life is to not just be a coach for the players, but a coach for the coaches as well and give them that opportunity. And we know that this wasn't just we know that this happened quicker than we thought, but the fact that he always knew he wanted Thomas Brown to be calling plays full time. But the fact that it came at this point and it was so good, I think he's genuinely happy that Thomas Brown is a major factor in this first win for the Carolina Panthers. I think he actually is proud. I don't think he has a snake bone in his body, Frank Reich. And hey, you know what? I think if he does end up getting fired at the end of the year, which I don't see happening at this moment, we'll see how the rest of the season goes, but I don't see him being upset about it. Obviously, he'll still get paid out, but I think he'd feel that whether it's Thomas Brown or Ajir Evra would deserve to get the promotion to be the head coach. I think that's how he wants his legacy to be as a builder. And so there was a lot of emotion there, and that was really good to see. But shout out to Thomas Brown. I liked what he did with the offense. Obviously, there's sometimes you could harp on him in the red zone. The Panthers could have been up by more than this. This shouldn't have been a closer game, but unable to pound the rock 1 yard in the red zone 3 different times. Chuba Hubbard, my Canadian guy, rushing for less than 30 yards. But 3 consecutive right up the middle plays. You just don't have the back for that. I don't know if it's a scheme or just the connection that he has with Bryce. And they're both 2 young guys. They're both trying to make it in the league together. Hey, we're going to grow with each other, Very few quarterbacks, offensive coordinators get to do that. You grow with each other, And so I don't know if it's that or if it's a scheme. It did feel like there was a little bit more motions pre-snap with Jonathan Mingo kind of going back and forth and moving around and, scheming guys open like Raheem Blackshear. Shout out to Raheem Blackshear. He had 26 yards passing it. Oh, total. He had 31 yards total rushing and receiving. I thought he was a game changer, especially in the run game as well. He had a 50-yard return at one point. I loved Raheem Blackshear during the preseason. I thought he played angry. Miles Sanders, 0 yards rushing. Like I think he's a trade candidate. I think potentially just like as a package thing. But shout out to Thomas Brown. I am so excited. I thought it was very cool and very cold blooded when they asked him before this game, "How do you want your offense to be remembered?" He's like, "By winning." And hell, his first time calling the plays full time. What are they doing? They're winning. So shout out to that. Dante Jackson played, but Dante Jackson played out of his mind. Initially, he was pissing me off with some of these missed tackles, getting absolutely destroyed, ankles broken by Tank Dell, but he also did that to Franklin as well. But I find that he played bigger, he played better as the game went on. To shout out to him, increase that trade value. I thought the defensive line played great. I thought Brian Burns is out to prove something. He seems to be doing that every single day. He also said after the game that he hasn't spoken with Scott Fitter about any contract extensions, but he wants to be with the Carolina Panthers. So he said, God willing, and God will figure that stuff out for him for sure. And I hope he'll be with the Panthers because I think that, as I said, he's the leader of the defense. As I said in the preview episode last week, check that one out. Check the receipts. I said the defense is going to step up to help Bryce. I think the Brian Burns and Bryce Young connection as the two young leaders on this team, the faces of the franchise, is something serious. And I think Brian Burns almost sees him like a little brother. He's got an older brother who takes care of him, and now he's the older brother taking care of Bryce. And as the face of the defense, I think they know that they have to shorten the field for Bryce, make Bryce's job easier. And I think they did exactly that. Shout out to him. Derek Brown had a tip ball. It feels like it feels like that CJ Stroud had. I think he did have more batted pass. Yeah, I don't think Bryce Young had a single batted pass, and CJ Stroud had at least two. We got to talk about Bryce. Bryce had his absolute best game as a Carolina Panther. Take a look at the stat line: 22 for 31, 235 yards, 1 touchdown, no picks. Sacked 6 times for 55 yards. He had a couple missed ones too. He showed his agility and his athleticism and his strength. First of all, this freaked me out because Chuba Hubbard got blown the F up to the back. I felt bad for Chuba. He runs high, he also blocks high. So he gets blown up to the back, and I was severely worried for Bryce Young. He already got sacked a couple times, but it looks like that defender, I don't know who it was, but tried to take on the block and grab Bryce with his right hand and try to bring him down. I thought, ooh, Bryce not the biggest guy. We know that. Is he going to Kyler Murray and just go straight down? But look at this right here. Grabs him. No, just swibs. That hurts the wrist. Finds Thielen, of course, down the field. Boom. When I saw that happen, I was like, oh, Carolina's winning this game. Carolina's winning this game. It's just he was feeling it. I think at that point, he felt that they had that missed opportunity in the red zone before that, in the series before that. And then CJ Stroud went, marched down the field after that. Took up a lot of the first quarter. And it felt like a real duel between the quarterbacks. They love each other, for sure. But apparently they didn't text each other before this game. And it did feel like a true competition. And Bryce says he doesn't read the stuff, but I don't think he had to read anything, but I think he could just watch CJ Stroud do his thing with the Texans. And he said to himself, this is a direct competitor with me. I'm not up against Aaron Rodgers or Jared Goff or Tua Tagovailoa. I'm up against a guy who was drafted right after me, my friend. We're always competing against each other. He's gonna step my game up. I'm gonna step my game up. It's just like Batman. You got bulletproof Kevlar, and they got Kevlar piercing rounds, that kind of stuff. And then you eventually get the Joker. Then you get Bane. And you always got to step your game up. And then that's what it felt like throughout this game. And at that moment, it felt like Bryce found that juice, and he pressed that button. He's like, okay, now it's go time. Now it is go time. And that's when it happened. And then that last drive that led all the way, 85-yard drive to lead to the Eddie Pinheiro field goal. Also, shout out to him for the redemption story there after missing that PAT. I thought that was going to go the wrong way. But that showed maturity. That showed a synergy with him and Thomas Brown. And in terms of the receivers, I thought, look, Jonathan Mingo, 4 yards, 62 receiving yards. Of course, 40 of it was in one single pass. But the fact that he caught it and then didn't drop it like he did in the first quarter, and then ran with it, he threw him open. He kept doing his thing. I think that he could be a formidable wide receiver 2 when Adam Thielen eventually hangs up the cleats. But in the moment, I feel like if the Panthers were to trade for a Jerry Jeudy or a Hollywood Brown, it's still probably like Jerry Jeudy, Adam Thielen, Jonathan Mingo. That's kind of the way it is. But I think that he took a huge step. I think the games before this one aren't a fluke. I think he literally is getting better every single game. And he improved in those 2 weeks in the way that I thought he would improve in a bye week. And I think that it showed. And I truly think that the Panthers right now could potentially go on a run. Just take a look at their next 2 games. Colts at home. That's a dub. And then the Bears in Chicago. At the moment, they're getting beat up by Los Angeles Chargers. And then you're at home against the Cowboys, which you never know what might happen. The Cardinals beat the Cowboys with a backup quarterback. All right, let me know what you guys think. We're going to have another episode on Wednesday on this channel. Also going to be out Keep Prowling on Monday. I don't know when it's going to air, but we're going to be everywhere. Things are good when the Panthers are winning. See you guys soon.